This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube, and I just finished watching my first entire episode of Raw in about two-ish years, maybe a little more than two-ish years. Was the Raw debut episode on Netflix. Was a little over 3 hours, a little under 3 hours and 10 minutes. Let me get into it. The show started. Overall, the show was too slow, in my opinion. Was for a Netflix show where there's going to be a lot of people checking it out for the first time. There was a lot of dull periods, and at least on my end, and I did do a watch along of this. The watch along link is in the description. There was advertisements on my end. And I've had Netflix for almost 2 months now. I've never seen any advertisements on Netflix until tonight. There were some Canadian viewers watching the watch along with me who said the only ads they got. So at the time that maybe American viewers might get regular TurboTax or Lemonade ads, they were getting wrestling ads that may not have been considered ads. I don't know, because if it's a WWE ad, it might not be considered actual advertisement by them. I don't know, but I definitely had a lot of ads, both for wrestling and WWE, which was frustrating for me. And I'd just like to thank the fans that watched it on the watch log with me, because I couldn't have made it through without you. I did actually feel, although there were some good moments to this, that it was just too long and it was like a chore to get through the whole thing. It started off again, video packages, lots of showing of the arena in this, which it did look great, but they did it to death. Of course, Triple H booked the show to start it around himself. Started with a speech by him. Then The Rock gave a speech, which, by the way, both speeches were basically just putting over Netflix. The Rock's mom was in the crowd, who I've done an interview with. I would suggest people check it out. Then it started with Roman Reigns against Solo Sikoa, which the match itself was good, other than the interference. The interference killed the match for me. I liked it other than the interference. And I like both of those wrestlers. I got no problem with either of those wrestlers. It was just overkill of interference. Didn't do anything to add all that interference other than take away from the match to me, which Roman Reigns won. He was wearing like these cool Nike boots in this match, which you could only assume is some sort of promotional deal where there's going to be these Roman Reigns shoes. And again, the first match didn't actually start as far as the actual bell ringing and all this until over half an hour into the show. So, I mean, that's a long time to actually get something going on. There was only 4 matches in the entire 3 hours and 10-ish minutes of the show. There was a lot of downtime. John Cena gave a promo that was way too long. Again, John Cena's promo was about 10 minutes. Most of the promo was just talking about Netflix, putting over Netflix. He did say he wanted to win the Royal Rumble, yeah. But one theme of this whole show to me is, why not just make the show better instead of having so many segments kind of kissing ass to Netflix? Why not just make the show better so people want to watch it, rather than just, it seemed like there was an overabundance of sucking up to Netflix in this. Like, most of John Cena's promo seemed to me to be about Netflix, which to me is just damn boring. I mean, that promo could have been 2 minutes and a lot better. To me, it was just like, this whole show made me just want to continue watching on YouTube in segments I can skip through, because it was actually frustrating all of the time in between stuff actually happening. And so many of the promo, even The Rock's promo, was a lot of sucking up to Netflix. He's on the board of directors. He made supposedly 41 million last year. I don't blame him, but it was just so much sucking up. Liv Morgan against Rhea Ripley was my most entertainment segment of the night. I found it the most entertaining of the night. Rhea Ripley beat her and then beat up Dominic Mysterio in the ring. Then the Undertaker came out at the end, and this was a weird thing. He comes out to the American Badass music on his motorcycle with her standing at the entrance. Then, and I mean, I'm one of the Undertaker's biggest fans. He drives around the ring, and then he stops and talks to her on the way back, then drives off. What's the point if she's not going to get on the bike and get the ride back with the Undertaker? To me, it's like, why wouldn't she ride back with the Undertaker? Just made it didn't. I understand having him come out, but like, why doesn't she ride the bike with him? To me, I mean, that was the best match again. And then it was Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. I did not like this match overall. It started off with action, but it was overall a very slow match. They didn't have big long introductions like they did with the first two matches. It was really long. This one there was no in-ring introductions, which was nice because I was really burnt out from them at this point. But the match was just too long, and Uso defeated McIntyre in the match. Hulk Hogan appeared. He seemed to get a lot of boos. The one good thing I'll say about the Hulk Hogan segment, which was pretty much an advertisement for Netflix again. He's putting over Netflix and putting over his beer, the new Real American beer that he has. Even though he has gone on record saying alcohol has been responsible for every single bad thing that's ever happened to him in his life, and I don't blame him. He's making money off of it. He's putting out this Real American beer. Now WWE is a partner. This promo was just a promo talking about the beer and Netflix. Nothing to it. It was like 2 or 3 minutes long. That was the good part about it. It was short. We didn't have to hear an additional 8 minutes of him talking about Netflix, which is just overkill, which there was way too much talking about Netflix in this. And I don't even hate Netflix. I never had an issue with Netflix till tonight where I'm getting advertisement on Netflix, where it's usually great. I can watch stuff on there without advertisement. To me, it actually made me really mad to have to watch the advertisements. As you can probably tell, maybe I'm a bit mad because I had to sit through this for 3 hours and 10 minutes. But yeah, Hogan got some boos. Jimmy Hart had the American flag, very robotic looking, didn't say anything. The one interesting thing when Hogan came in, he was limping a lot when he came through the tunnel. By the way, there was no Titantron. It looked way better to have no Titantron in the back. We've seen the damn Titantron for like 30 years. It's overkill. It's nice to see them back just coming out of the tunnel. The Titantron in these large entrances, I think they've been done to death at this point. Let's just keep doing it. It looked like the crowd looked great, but let me tell you, when Hogan came out, there was two people, like random people in the back of the tunnel. I don't know if they were helping him get to the tunnel or not because he seemed to be limping coming out of the tunnel. Then they kind of disappeared out the back. I think the promo got him fired up because he wasn't limping as much when he walked back. Where when I saw him walk out, all I was thinking is, oh, this poor guy, he should have a cane. His biceps look great. He posed. Again, they're in California. That's probably has a lot to do with the booze. He's a controversial guy. Hogan's had a lot of controversy over the years. So people have the right to boo or cheer. Then finally, the fourth match happens over 3.5 hours into the show. This match was the best match from an action point of view. The other thing is they used tables in 3 of the 4 matches. They used the same table in 3 of the 4 matches. That's overkill of the use of the table. But yeah, CM Punk defeated Seth Rollins. I didn't have any issues with that match other than by the time it went on, I was burnt out. By the time it went on, I'd already watched more than 3.5 hours of this. There was a lot of lags, a lot of commercials. I was ready to go. The one thing I'll point out, a lot of the stuff in between was just showing wrestlers in the crowd. Where I think they could have done more like backstage segment. They had one backstage segment with the New Day and a comedian from Netflix, which really there was nothing to that segment. There was nothing really going on other than showing celebrities and wrestlers in the crowd between matches. It's like you could have done more to have it more interesting in between. It just seemed to really lag. It seemed like maybe a lot of the celebrities that had got tickets left towards the end because some of the crowd shots, the seats on the hard camera side, the seats were red, right? And if you look during the last match, various part, it looks like there's some rows of empty seats that I figure probably a lot of the celebrities just left. I think 3 hours was too much there, and I mean that's they were doing the best of the best, and they definitely could have condensed what they put out into 2 hours, definitely, and it would have been a lot better. And I wouldn't have left with the taste in my mouth like I never want to watch 3 hours of this again. I'm glad I heard it was going to be 3 hours and 20 minutes. I appreciate it. It didn't go 3 hours and 20 minutes. Anyways, thank you, Jim, for agreeing with me. Someone says it's not nothing but Hollywood corporate BS, not wrestling. It's not the wrestling that we grew up with. No, Goldberg and Brock Lesnar did not return. Apparently, Goldberg might have his retirement match on the Netflix Raw from Atlanta, Georgia, coming up, according to Dave Meltzer. I hope take that for what it's worth. I hope he has more than one match because I like Goldberg. And I think he's got more left in the tank. He's in better shape than most of the. One thing I will say is The Rock is in amazing shape. He has one of the best physiques of all time, wrestler or no wrestler. And just to keep that physique, the amount of dedication it must take him, let alone all the other stuff that he does. So he's got the highest amount of respect from me. A lot of people did report production issues, Big C. I even had some where it was circling. Jack Kilby was also watching this. He had some production issues as well. Overall, mine wasn't too bad. It is funny that, as you mentioned, they just abandoned Rock's heel turn and suddenly he was a face. The other weird thing, he walked out with a title, and to me, it's like there's already so confusing how many titles they are, and they got a lot of titles that aren't over. Of course, a title with The Rock is going to be over, but it's like, what title is this that The Rock is coming out with? Like, I would like to see him just win Cody's title from him. What's the point of coming out with this title that nobody knows what it means just to have another title? I don't know. I honestly, my friend, I would say the biggest takeaway I have from that is I'd rather watch on YouTube. I could have watched The Rock's promo on YouTube and fast forwarded through the bullshit where he was just putting over Netflix. Same with John Cena. There was too much bullshit where you're just sitting there and it's like pain. I don't want to just hear you talking over and over again how great Netflix is because they're paying billions for your content. It's just boring. Make the show better and I'll watch on Netflix again. Right now, I'm leaving this saying if you keep doing documentaries on wrestlers, I'll watch those on Netflix, but I'm not going to sit through Netflix that long again. That was not fun. The Rock, by the way, is also going to appear on NXT tomorrow night. His daughter's part of NXT. He did say that he was going to be on NXT. Yeah, having so many average-looking wrestlers in the crowd did show how much today's wrestlers look like the fans. I agree for that. And I think it's funny that Austin Theory, they tried to give him so much big of a push, and they even put him over John Cena, and he was sitting in the crowd with the fans tonight, which to me, it did make them look awful. Like, man, there's not that much that separates these guys from fans. The ones that did, like Logan Paul, they showed him in the crowd. He looked like a star among the fans. And there were some others did. LA Knight. But my has LA Knight fallen from main eventing pay-per-views to sitting in the crowd. They could have fit more matches into this, but they chose not to for whatever reason. Anyways, thanks a lot. I would give this, some of the matches were good, but overall, this was not fun to watch. I was like looking at the time, and you fans got me through it. The watch long. And if you haven't watched it yet, and you want to sit through the Netflix, and you want to watch my watch along while you're watching it, The link is in the description. Have a